speaker is the IT manager for Visscher Lumber and Westform Metals. Nearly 26 years ago, he moved to Chilliwack from Prince George to take on this role. His passion for computers began in the days of Commodore VIC-20 and has only grown since then. A true tech enthusiast, he enjoys ham radio, building computers, home automation, programming, and all things geeky. But his interests don't stop there. He's also active in the Chilliwack arts community, serving on the board of the Chilliwack Players Guild and occasionally stepping onto the stage himself. Today, he's excited to share how his blending of theater and technology has sparked his creativity. Glenn, please.
I've spent my whole life involved with IT. Computers have always been my hobby, and I'm fortunate that it's also become my career. Now, I know that some of you may be thinking, what does a computer guy know about creativity? Valid question. So I'd like you to picture the tech guru in your life. Now take them out from behind the screen, dress them up in a silly costume, plop them on stage, and that was me in 2018 when I was cast in Murder on the Nile with the Chilliwack Players Guild. Not exactly your typical IT hobby, right? I got hooked. Since then, I've been involved in many productions with the Players Guild. And one of the things that amazes me about theater is the sheer number of people involved. Costumes, props, sets, every item you see on stage has been intentionally chosen. But to choose something, you need to know what you have. And at the Players Guild, we have a lot. We have one of the largest theater costume collections in the Fraser Valley. We had a system to track it. Her name is Mary. Then Mary retired. And now we have a room full of costumes and a rough idea of what's in there. Props had a different system, an old Microsoft Access database. If you're not in IT, that probably sounds fine. If you are in IT, you did just cringe. Members, we track them in a spreadsheet. I took that on for a year. A spreadsheet is not a database. Okay, I do want to talk about magic. Imagination. Setting aside the what is and indulging in the what if. At Players Guild, we went through the imagination process. What if our props computer dies and takes our database with it? That's not a good dream. Okay, what if we could share our collection of costumes? What if we could become a resource for other theater groups? Loaning costumes, props, and even scripts. Now we're talking. What if we actually know what's in our collections? Game-changing. And what if there were a way that I could come up with a solution? So I asked my friends Gordon and Kevin to help me find some software. We couldn't find anything that would do what I was looking for. And if you can't buy it, we'd have to settle for less or build it. And if nothing exists, then there must be a larger need. And so that was the birth of the software we now call Audiomate. We dove in. We asked the Players Guild to dream big. Not only what is the need, but what would make it amazing. And as it turns out, people like to dream big. Okay, so let's make this web-based. We'll make it an app. That way we're not limited to one person at a time or that person being at a specific computer. Let's not just track props, costumes, and members, but let's dream bigger and build out the ability to track all sorts of theater-related things. We started with props. We transferred the old data and photos from the Access database, which was a big thing because we have over 2,000 unique props inventoried. We added the ability to barcode everything. We let props be part of multiple categories, and now we have the ability to search and filter quickly. When we have a scene that needs a tray, we can simply filter for the category tray, scroll through and find the one that looks like the best match. We can pull up the details, pictures, histories, schedule, and where the prop is in the prop room. Next, we took on costumes. We figured, hey, a costume's essentially an item, like a prop, right? We can store them in locations, photograph them, categorize them. And it turns out that costumes are a bit more complicated. They've got measurements. Inseam, shoulder to shoulder, shoe size, So we built category-specific measurement tracking. Your shirts will prompt you for sleeve length, while your slacks will ask you about the inseam. And we extended things out so that an item can be part of more than one category in case some of those lines get blurred. We have an inventory of scripts for almost 600 different productions. Thankfully, no complicated measurements. We included the ability for multiple categories, scripts, genres, and we make sure that we track cast requirements. We've even added the ability to record some ratings by our local play reading committee. And then we tackled memberships. Remember my love for tracking members in spreadsheets? Yeah, no. I will spend hours coding a solution to avoid 15 minutes of repetitive work. We wanted to keep the look and feel consistent to make sure that we show the most relevant information at a glance and make it not so boring to use. So now the power comes when we link it all together via events, shows. We can assign items to events, people to events, costumes to people. You get the idea. At the beginning of any production, a costumer will measure up the actors. So let's link those measurements to people. And that starts to get interesting because let's add a smart search. Instead of digging through racks of costumes, a costumer could type, I need a generic priest costume for Glenn. And boom, options. Hey, and people who sign out this suit often add a hat. Yes, we were able to do something like that before, but now we don't have to call Mary. Oh, and you may also want to add a Bible and cross necklace, just in case. So let's dream bigger yet. The Players Guild partners with other theater groups. With some IT magic and agreements between groups, we can automate searches to include items from multiple groups. Borrowing and lending between theaters becomes seamless. So community theater, but with the community for theaters. Imagination fuels creativity. The invitation to imagine, that was my spark. Thank you.